Hi, everyone. My name is Jason Myers. I'm the lead architect of Auditchain Labs, and with me is Fuad Bejic, who is the lead engineer behind our seminal Luca suite, which is a suite of knowledge assembly, control assembly, and financial reporting automation tools. A little bit about who we are. Auditchain is what we believe to be the world's first Web3 financial disclosure automation protocol. We've been at it for about 7 years. I'm going to share my screen just so that some of you can. Okay. So we were named a top 50 company in Crypto Valley last year. We didn't make it this year because it's pay to play this year. Sorry, guys. Our mission is to remove global systemic risk and accelerate capital deployment through AI and decentralization across the accounting, financial reporting, and audit information supply chain. So the problems that we're solving is that there's no financial transparency in the Web3 and crypto space. There's very little by way of internal controls in the Web3 and crypto space. Smart contracts by themselves are not controls internally. There's very little financial disclosure domain experience in the Web3 and crypto space. And if there is, it's probably in this room, which is not enough. And there's substantial deficiencies in traditional financial disclosure specifications and audit standards. So what we've developed as a solution is a no-code environment that allows you to develop internal controls and financial disclosure automation infrastructure. There is some artificial intelligence involved. It's not generative AI, it's declarative AI. We feel that generative AI is a speculative attempt at an output, and speculation has no business in the accounting world. For the protocol, there's Web3 incentives for validators and creators of tokenized disclosure audit and analysis controls. You get paid as a creator every time they're used. There's a community validation feature of accurate and truthful financial disclosure. So to the same extent that validators on a blockchain validate blocks and transactions, validators in our application on our platform hunt and detect requests for financial statement validation, and they engage in a race to fulfill that validation, and they earn a reward. The losers of the race corroborate and come to consensus, and they earn substantially less of a reward. This is all done without the need for a centralized public accounting firm. There is no precedent for this. There's no laws yet that delineate how you need more than one accounting firm to conduct an audit. This is an experiment, and this is what we believe and what we hope we can push through over time from a legislative and policy perspective to add a plurality of accounting firms that either divide responsibility or come to consensus on the same responsibility. Our architecture is global standards based. It's any data structure that's part of the semantic web in and any data structure out. We use XBRL-based controls to constrain logic when it's created, which we're going to show you. Total addressable market is $1 trillion now. It'll be $3 trillion by 2030. So we have two main products. One is the Luca suite. which is a financial and operational disclosure infrastructure creation suite. So when I say infrastructure creation, when you guys use NetSuite and QuickBooks and Xero, it already has the infrastructure and you configure the output of a balance sheet. That is not GAAP or IFRS compliant financial disclosure. You guys know that it's a surgical procedure and involves outputs to Excel and it involves rearrangements. This is an automation suite that covers the entire financial disclosure in a compliant, accurate, truthful way, which we're going to show you. Our target markets are regulators. We think regulators will love this. One, because our Luca suite is becoming it's becoming a standard at the Object Management Group, which is a technical standard setter, and regulators love standards. It will allow regulators to capture, analyze, and conduct oversight on financial disclosure. It'll allow them to aggregate data across all companies, across industries, for a single line item, a sum of two or more line items, or any formula they wish to apply. Our target market is also to accountants and auditors who will use this to prepare financial statements for their clients, and separately for those they don't prepare for, to conduct audits on financial statements. And we think that this is useful for investors because really for the first time, investors will be able to detect inconsistencies in financial statements, which will tell them whether or not they should rely on them, which we'll show you in a minute. On the protocol, there is a Web3 infrastructure. So we built a monetary system around financial reporting, audit, and analysis, where if you hold the tokens, you can delegate to a validator, or you can become a validator and operate a Pacioli node, which validates financial statements and logic assemblies. The logic assemblies are made up of controls. So what we call them is process control NFT, which is an immutable, transferable digital control that automates a business process, a control that affects financial reporting, audit, and analysis. You get a royalty each time it's used. We hope that it moves the institution of accountancy and professional services to from hourly fees and manual labor to the Web3 creator economy that allows you to earn royalties. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to go to a demo just to show you in simplified form the functionality of the Luca suite. What you're about to see, for some of you, may look oversimplified, and for others, it may look somewhat complex. So we're going to explain as we go along. And let me share my screen. If I'm wrong, Fuad's going to hit me over the head with a tack hammer, and he's going to interrupt me and tell me I'm wrong and state what I was supposed to say. So if you just give me a second, I'll share. Okay, so Fuad likes to log in with Google, and a lot of accountants do too. See, this is what I wanted to back up. So what you're going to do is we're going to create a report based upon the SFAC 6, and we're going to load a report from a financial reporting scheme library. So we're going to choose which of the elements that we're going to add, and we're going to title it. And in this case, we're going to title it as a balance sheet, as you can see. And what we're going to do is, if I can slow this down just a second and back up so that I can explain this. 1 second.
Jason, if you want, we can make a live demo.
Why don't we do that?
We can make a live demo.
Let's do a live demo with the SFAC 6. Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
Right?
I'll share my screen.
Because you're too fast for me.
I'll share my.
I can see you.
Oh, you can see me.
I can see the application. So this is, let's start it from scratch, right? So this is what our Luca suite.
That means right now we are capable to log in with the Gmail account, or to use the MetaMask, or we can use only a registration process. I will use the Google account.
See, everybody here uses MetaMask or Trust Wallet, Fuad, just so you know. But that's okay.
Okay.
Our target market is not just Web3 people. It's traditional CFOs.
Okay, I will go back. I will go back. I will create with the MetaMask. That means right now I have used the MetaMask and I have logged in on the Suite platform. Here you have different applications. Today we'll explain the Luca and the Pacioli validator. All other applications maybe we'll leave for another time. That means I will choose the Luca. And then I will be capable to create the report. I will use the basic example, SFA 6 test, I will call it 2. To be sure that I don't have that report, that I didn't create that report. Right now we are capable to create the report from the different waves, but I will use combine creation of the report. I will start to create a report from the scratch. That means I will create the balance sheet, and after that I will import it, some reporting elements from predefined schema files.
So if I can interrupt 1 second, let me interrupt 1 second.
Okay.
For those that are watching, what you're doing is you're creating a model assembly. So as all of you know, every one of your clients, if you serve clients, their financial reports are like fingerprints. And you'll be able to create a model for each one of your clients. Once you create that model, everything is automated. Go ahead, Fuad.
Okay, I will create the model. At first, I will set default values. That means we can change here the values, currency, rounding, and so on. But we will take default values. At first, I will create the structure. The first structure, I will call the balance sheet. That means it is pretty simple. I need to find. Okay. That means I put here the name of the structure. It is the balance structure identifier. It is the balance sheet. I will click here, add. That means right now we have the structures, the balance sheet. Now I will create the hypercube because balance sheet can consist from the different hypercubes. Right now, we are using standard business reporting model approach. At first, we are creating the model. And depending on that model, we are capable that model to export in any other formats. And this format is also compatible with XBRL. That means we are supporting full XBRL. We have here full XBRL support, inline XBRL, XBRL reports, and all other things.
But you can export it in any format you want, right?
Yes, we can export it in any format. That means I will create at first I need to create the hypercube. Hypercube I will call also the balance sheet. Okay.
See, in our world, each structure is a knowledge graph and a series of subgraphs, all of which are machine readable and relational. So
then I will add. Okay.
Go ahead.
Then I will add the concept that means in the reporting elements. Right now I have the balance sheet, line items. Now I'm capable to add I can add the abstract element at first. The abstract element we can call the balance sheet. And then on the abstract element, I will add the elements. The first element, it will be the asset. The asset is monetary item. The calendar period tab is the instant.
So if I can interrupt for 1 second, depending on how long this takes, we'll go to a P&L, but you can create a microservice for a P&L for trading, for instance, that allows you to keep a P&L for trading. And that's a separate model than a 4 financial statement model. Here, we're showing assets, liabilities, and he's going to add equity in a minute. And all of the logic and the formulas and the calculations are included on the fly upon assembly.
Now I'm capable to add the formula because right now this is the set patterns which I can convert in the rollup, but I will not do that because the assets needs to be equal liabilities and the equity. Here I will add a formula. This formula is also compliant with the XBRL formula. That means assets is equal. I need to click liabilities plus equity.
Or, as you know, equity equals assets plus liabilities.
That means then I'm capable also to convert this to the roll up, edit block type, and then I can make that means the equity is equal assets plus liabilities. That means you can see here the underline that I have changed the structure. When I go back, I'm capable to reload the model, and we can see here the table, that means the hypercube. Now I will put the zeros here because I want to create the facts. I have created the facts because in this balance sheet we have XBRL formula and the roll-up. Now I will not waste time to create all other structures. That means all other structures I will import it from the our smart cache. I will use that means I will pull this the model. That means right now I have the balance sheet. That means of the statement of financial positions. Now I want to import statement of comprehensive income and the statement of the change in equity.
Let me interrupt
Means
1 second,
this.
Fuad. 1 second.
Yeah.
Fuad mentions the term XBRL, which is tucked under the hood. You don't need to know anything about, you don't have to be a structured data expert to use this. However, real world asset tokenization means securities. And in the United States, you cannot pass go, you can't do anything without financial and operational disclosure. There are many exemptions to securities laws, which allow you to publish your financial disclosure on your own website, but nonetheless, financial disclosure is it's a non-starter. And that's what enables transferability under the securities laws for a tokenized real world asset, whether or not it's a treasury bond or a basket of buildings. Go ahead, Fuad.
Now I will click on the next. That means right now I will import these two structures with all these reporting elements. Really, that is not the only simple example, and the same principle is also with IFRS reports, US GAAP reports, and so on. That means I have also imported the fact values. User right now is capable to change all these values.
Now, let me interrupt 1 second.
Or
use 1 second,
API.
Fuad, give me 1 second. There'll be an API that allows you to import your data right from your accounting system, and the other systems that contain data that's necessary in a full GAAP compliant or IFRS compliant financial statements. You could also import them via Excel, or as you can see, enter them manually. Go ahead,
Or
Fuad.
JSON file. That means right now you are capable this report to export in XBRL. That means you are capable also to create inline XBRL report. You can see here the inline XBRL report. You are capable to validate this report. That means to use the local validation, which is based on the model, or to use the external validation via Patchouli, which we'll use now. That means right now we are capable to choose the reporting style. When we have US GAAP, for example, taxonomy, when we use, then we need to use the reporting style. The reporting style depends from the sector to the sector. If we are using, I don't know, if we want to create the financial statements for the oil industry, that means we need to choose that reporting style. If we want to create a financial statement for the I don't know, for the bank industry, for the financial institutions, we are using another reporting style. And now we can also put this report, that means the entire validation of this report will also put on the IPFS storage. We can also put this report on the Auditchain Explorer. That means it is our Web3 applications, and through this Web3 application, you are capable to go through this report and to see all inconsistencies and all other things.
Yep.
Now I will validate.
Fuad, let me interrupt for 1 second before you validate. Before you put a copy on IPFS or pass it to the Auditchain Explorer, you're going to want to perform a series of internal audit procedures, which will internally validate and make sure that what you're asserting is correct. And then you'll go through this step again once you've determined it's correct and publish that report. Go ahead.
I will click on the validate. It will take time. What I will do right now, that means in the background, I have created the XBRL report. And that XBRL report, I have sent it to our external validator. External validator, we are calling the Patchouli. Patchouli is capable to validate the XBL report, but it also capable to add external resources, that means, extra formulas in that validator. Now I have validated this report because in this report I don't have extra rules for fundamental accounting concept. I don't have the rules for type and subtypes, and I don't have the external rule for reporting disclosures. But for that means for all other categories, this report is the valid. If you want to see this report on the IPFS, we can do that. That means right now we are Auditchain for IPFS. It is
Don't mind the
technical
front-end
view.
interface, by the way. It's being worked on. This is exposing every single data point that our developers need in order to work on the application.
Yes, correct. That means I will go back. That is the only one use case. How can you use the Looker and how can you put your report on the IPFS storage? The another possibilities is to go in the validation dashboard. Our validation dashboard is now I need to use because with this MetaMask I don't have a email address registered. And now I will go log out and log in to have the email address to be able to use this feature.
That's only his address, by the way. It's not a rule.
Yeah, that's not a rule. Yes, correct. I will go on the validation dashboard. Now, this validation dashboard is through APIs. We have connected an SSC site. That means we are
Hold on. Let me,
capable to.
if I may, Fuad, this is a completely separate application that allows an analyst or a controller or a CFO of a publicly traded company to analyze their own as filed financial statements with the SEC. It's integrated with the Edgar system. We will integrate it with ESMA and the 27 EU jurisdictions, MAS in Singapore, Japan, and all of the 60 other jurisdictions that mandate the use of the XBRL global syntax. So in here, you can search for any company that's filed with the SEC, and you can externally validate and analyze their financial reports. We should find one with some inconsistencies. Microsoft is too perfect.
Maybe Microsoft is too big. I will choose the because yeah, it has so many statements. We will wait long to proceed all the validation and so on. I will choose maybe this company because I know this company has this report is not so big.
Yeah, Microsoft, there's 3 companies that file absolutely perfect, pristine financial statements. It's Microsoft, it's Apple, it's not Amazon. I forget who's the other one. There's a couple of them that perfect financial
I will choose the last reporting date for 10Q report. I will continue in the validations. After validation, you will receive the results by email. That means it will take time because depending on how big is the report, it can take several minutes to get validation of this report.
While he's looking for the report and while it's grinding away, I'm gonna tell you that we're going to initiate a bounty program, and that bounty program will enable anyone to earn a bounty by going to the validation suite and searching for indexing the world's financial statements, starting with the SEC. And those financial statements will expose the inconsistencies, right? About half of all financial statements filed contain inconsistencies. It could be something trivial, or it could be, for instance, the balance sheet. Believe it or not, uh, a lot of the times the balance sheet doesn't even balance. And these are financial reports that have been reviewed or audited and filed with the SEC. So what he's going to do now is he's going to load it into the Luca suite. So we see some inconsistencies with this financial statement. He's loading it into the Luca suite, which is something the controller would do, right? And what this is designed to do is to light a fire under the butt of the controller, everyone who signs these financial statements, and remediate them, and either call the lawyers, file a disclosure saying they've improved internal controls. We're going to get them to enter into an agreement with us, a subscription agreement, so that they can use Luca Suite to create consistent financial reports that are perfect, relatively speaking.
Now that report, we can look on the suite side. That means I have what we have done here. We have converted XBRL report in the standard business reporting model. And then we are capable to edit the model and to fix the reports. On this report, we can see here, that means right now we are here in the edit mode. I'm capable to fix the facts. That means for that, I will need much more time. But with this demo, you can see the purpose of these applications. That means we are capable to validate SSC reports, to load that report in the Luca, to fix reports, and to create a correct report. And because of that, we have also local validation inside. That means you can see this report in also in the view mode. It is much easier to read reports, and you can also see all inconsistencies and so on. Jason, I think that I shared two use cases. Maybe if you want,
I'll share the map.
we can go also.
Right.
Okay.
So let me just break up the use cases, because we didn't really exemplify the use cases. The use case for Luca is for model assembly creation. So if you have 100 clients and you do tax filings for them, you can create 100 different tax models for each one of your clients. You can create financial statements for your company in GAAP or IFRS. You can create controls and models that are consumed by others on the network so that you get paid a royalty when they're used. What we just went through is good for CFAs that work at investment managers who want to see whether or not and to what extent they can rely on those financial statements. They will be able to import it into Luca if they subscribe to Luca, so that they can make estimated changes to the report based upon conversations they have. Because if they're severely inconsistent, the first call is going to be the CFO or controller, maybe the investor relations department, who's going to refer them likely to the controller or the CFO. And for that purpose, they'll be able to assemble it correctly so that it serves their investment thesis.
I want only to show one real example. That means IFRS SMEs, which we are also supporting and so on. Yeah, that means it will take much more time to show all the features, what Luca is capable to do. Yeah, that's it. I think for the demo, for the overview, I think that's enough.
Yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys part of what we're going to initiate for our bounty program. The other thing that we're in the process of doing is we're implementing the EIP 4337 account abstraction, which, as some or all of you know, tucks away the complexities of the Web3 experience under the hood and makes wallets contract-based so that controllers and CFOs who may not be proficient in Web3 feel like they're using a Web2 application. So I'm going to share my screen and show you guys something that some of you may have seen already. Okay. This is an interactive map which was populated by our community during a pilot we did last year. They were instructed to grab a little over 3,000 financial statements filed with the SEC, and we paid them a bounty to do it. And when they submitted them to the network of Pacioli node validators, it also wrote each result to this map. So if you click a red dot means that you violated one or more of our 9 categories of rules. And when you click the dot, it'll bring you to a dashboard, which, by the way, we're working on because it's a little bit slow. There's a lot of information that has to get rendered. So on this dashboard, you have the categories of rules, and you can see a summary. So you violated calculations that were provided as a standard through the XBRL global syntax, but you violated fundamental accounting concepts. So what's a fundamental accounting concept? You guys all know what that is. Assets, equity equals assets plus liabilities is a fundamental accounting concept, right? Total revenue minus total expenses equals profit loss. Those are very simple fundamental accounting concepts. But when you deal with, for instance, complicated accounting treatments associated with leases, leasehold improvements, stock option plans, that's literally rocket science. And depending upon the extent of the inconsistencies, the SEC might actually send you a letter asking you questions, and your lawyers and accountants will have to you'll have to resolve it, which might mean restating your financial statements. Nobody wants to restate. Restatements are the kiss of death. So here, what we're going to put up is a fix button so that if the controller or CFO is looking at this, they can import it right into Luca. They're not going to be able to do anything with it until they pay us a subscription. And then they will fix their financial statements and decide whether or not they're going to restate, depending upon whatever dialogue they had with the regulator, right? This is not just the SEC. This is 60 jurisdictions across 100 regulatory agencies around the world, which specify the use of structured data in a very, very similar, if not the same way. So this will apply to every jurisdiction. It's just a question of which taxonomy that was used during the model assembly by the issuer, right? So what it's designed to do, since this information is relied upon by government agencies to publish economic statistics. Would we be 34 trillion in debt If the information was reliable, we don't know. Maybe it would be less. But central banks rely on this information to set and attenuate monetary policy. So, how do you get the whole world to increase the reliability and the integrity of the information they file with each of their regulators? You expose them to voters and shareholders in a way that they've never seen it before. What you're looking at is unprecedented. It's never been done before. And there's nothing to stop a degen from tweeting this. What am I looking at? Is there a CPA in the house? Hey, Elon, why is your financial statement screwed up? Just ad infinitum. And this will out these companies into, and listen, we take the position that most of them are honest. They just made stupid mistakes with software that does not meet our specifications, right? Most of the software used to make these financial statements is designed only to meet regulatory specifications, which, let me just say, need substantial improvements. Now, those improvements are underway because at the end of 22, the Financial Data Transparency Act in the United States passed. And that puts 90,000 municipalities and 7 regulatory agencies, the SEC being one, within its scope. And on September 7th last year, the SEC published a warning about inconsistencies in financial statements. And they were even nice enough to provide a sample letter of what that would look like. Now, most people here may not realize that 80% of all financial disclosure is outsourced to an agency who may use software themselves or who may send it to another service provider that tags those financial statements. We don't know if they're accountants. We don't know how skilled they are, and they use what the software provides. That's half the reason why all these dots are red, right? So we take the position that most companies are honest, but it's time to increase the integrity and reliability of business and financial information. Our technology exists to do that. And we hope that over the next 3 years, you'll see a substantial improvement of the information filed with regulators. And you'll be able to rely on it, which means investment managers will be able to automate investment thesis, will be able to rely on the financial statements filed with regulators, which means you guys as accountants will be able to use Luca to create reliable financial statements, to create controls that are properly constrained so that if they're used by others to create financial statements, you get paid a royalty, right? And maybe one day when you retire, you can sell those controls for a multiple of the revenue that they generate, moving you from hourly fees and manual labor to being part of the Web3 creator economy as an accountant. Because for some reason, blockchain has left all of you guys out in the wind to twist. And you guys are the only ones really working in Web3, blazing trails, right? You got other companies who are doing great work like Bitwave and Cryptio and Gilded, who before them, we were hardwiring accounts from addresses straight to the chart of accounts, literally using Python rigs. And so, there are great accountants doing great work in the Web3 space, but for some reason, the accounting, financial reporting, and audit space is at the bottom of the innovation tree, if you will. So that's what we hope to do. That's who we are. And this is so far what we've built. And what you've seen is not nearly all that we've built, but we hope that you understood it. And we'll go to a Q&A. If anybody has any questions, we'll answer those questions.